I am 79 years old, and last Tuesday my granddaughter watched me eat breakfast, looked at me with that particular expression young people get when something surprises them, and said, "Grandma, you look so good. What are you doing differently?" And I laughed because the answer is so simple that it sounds like I am making it up. I changed what time I eat dinner. That is it. That is the whole secret. And before you roll your eyes and click away, I need you to hear what that one change actually did to my body, my sleep, my mind, and my energy at 79 years old. Because I spent 60 years eating at the wrong time and feeling terrible and thinking that was just what getting older felt like. I was wrong. And nobody told me. Not one doctor, not one nutritionist, not one well-meaning friend in 6 decades said the words I am about to say to you right now. The time you eat your dinner is slowly destroying your sleep, your digestion, your weight, and your energy. And you have no idea it is happening because you have been doing it your whole life and you think how you feel is just normal. I grew up in a household where dinner at 7 or 8 in the evening was simply how things were done. My mother cooked after my father came home from work. We sat together late. We ate together late. And when I had my own family, I did the same thing, because that was what I knew, and that was what life looked like with 2 working adults and children with activities and a schedule that did not bend for anyone. By the time everyone was home and the food was ready, and we were all at the table, it was often 8:30, sometimes 9. And then we would eat a full meal, sometimes a heavy one, and then sit together for a little while, and then go to bed an hour or 2 later, feeling stuffed and slow, and wondering why sleep always felt like such labor. I assumed that was aging. I assumed that was just the texture of a busy life. I assumed everyone felt this way, and you simply developed a tolerance for feeling less than you should. I was wrong about every single one of those assumptions. I want to tell you about the woman who changed everything for me. Her name was Vera. She lived 4 houses down from me, and she was 81 years old when I really started paying attention to her. Vera was the kind of 81 that made people uncomfortable in the best possible way. She moved like she meant it. She remembered everything. She woke up early and looked forward to it, which at the time I found almost suspicious. She had a lightness about her that had nothing to do with being carefree and everything to do with a body and a mind that were genuinely rested and genuinely well. I thought she was simply lucky. Good genes, I told myself. Some people just age well. And then one afternoon, I was standing in her driveway helping her carry in groceries, and I finally asked her outright, "Vera, what is your secret? Tell me honestly." She put down the bag she was carrying. She looked at me with that calm, unhurried way she had of looking at things. And she said, "I stop eating by 6 o'clock every evening, have done for 20 years. That is most of it right there. I thought maybe a supplement after that, or a particular food, but no. Mostly it is just the 6 o'clock dinner. Your body needs time to finish its work before you sleep. Give it that time, and it will give you back things you forgot you were missing." I want to tell you honestly that my first response was to dismiss it. I thought, Vera, I have a real life. I have a husband who works. I have grandchildren visiting on weekends. I have a schedule that does not arrange itself around an early dinner like I am living in a retirement catalog. I smiled and nodded and went home and did not change a single thing for almost 4 more months. And then one morning I woke up after a full 8 hours of sleep, feeling like I had not slept at all. My stomach was unsettled, my joints ached, my mind was wrapped in that thick fog that had become so familiar I had stopped noticing it as a problem. And I sat on the edge of the bed and thought about Vera, about how she looked, about the way she moved through her mornings. And I thought, what if she is right? What do I actually have to lose by trying this? I changed my dinner time to 6 o'clock that same week. And what happened over the next 90 days was so significant and so steady and so completely different from any health change I had ever attempted that I have not stopped talking about it since. Here is what I need you to understand before I tell you what changed. Your body is not a simple machine that processes input and delivers output on demand, regardless of timing. Your body runs on a clock, a deeply ancient biological clock that has been inside human beings for hundreds of thousands of years, long before electricity extended our days, long before modern schedules pushed our meals into the late evening hours, long before we had any reason to be eating at 9 at night. That clock has very precise expectations about when you should be active and digesting food, and when you should be winding down and repairing and restoring. It does not negotiate with your calendar. It does not care that your meeting ran late, or that traffic was terrible, or that the kids needed help with homework until 7:30. It simply runs on its schedule. And when you eat a full meal 2 hours before bed, you are handing a system that was already preparing to rest an enormous amount of urgent work to do at the worst possible time. And here is the part that nobody explains clearly enough. Your body cannot do 2 major things at the same time. It cannot fully digest a heavy meal and fully repair your tissues and consolidate your memories and clean your cells and regulate your hormones in the deep restorative way that proper sleep requires, all simultaneously. When digestion is active and demanding, it takes priority. The repair work gets compromised. The sleep gets lighter. The morning arrives and your body has been working all night instead of resting, and you wake up tired from sleep, and you think that is just how you are now. But it is not how you are. It is what you ate and when you ate it. The distinction matters enormously. The first thing that changed for me was my sleep. I want to be specific about this because I think specificity is the only thing that actually convinces people. Within 10 days of moving my dinner to 6 o'clock, my sleep changed. Not slightly, noticeably. I fell asleep within 20 minutes of lying down instead of the 45 minutes to an hour I had come to expect. I stopped waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning with that restless, wide-awake feeling that had plagued me for years. I started waking up in the morning, and this is the part that moved me almost to tears the first time it happened. I started waking up actually rested, not groggy, not reaching for the alarm, hoping for more time. Rested. like someone had given me back something I had not even known was missing, because I had been without it for so long. I called Vera the morning after the first really good night of sleep I had had in years. She answered on the second ring, bright and awake as always, and I told her. And she laughed. Not an I told you so laugh, a genuine, happy laugh. And she said, just wait, it keeps getting better. She was right about that too. The second thing that changed was my digestion. Now I want to talk about this plainly, because women especially spend years managing digestive discomfort and being told it is hormonal or age-related or simply part of the body changing, and there is not much to be done. The bloating that I had been managing with various remedies and adjustments and just tolerating for most of my 60s was largely gone within 3 weeks of eating earlier. The heaviness after meals, the way food used to sit in me through the entire evening like something unfinished, gone. Not because I changed what I was eating, because I changed when. I was giving my digestive system the 3 to 4 hours it needed to do its work before I lay down and removed gravity from the equation and asked it to continue in conditions it was not designed for. Such a simple thing, such a profound difference. The third change took the longest to name, but it may have been the most important of all. My mind. My morning clarity. I am a woman who has always valued her mental sharpness, and I had been watching it dull for years and accepting the dulling as inevitable. The fog that required multiple cups of coffee to partially lift. The way complicated thoughts felt slightly out of reach in the mornings. The general sense of operating at 80% of my actual capacity and calling it fine because at my age, what else should I expect? What I did not understand was how directly my late eating was connected to all of that. Your brain depends on sleep to do its most important work. Memory consolidation happens during sleep. Emotional regulation is restored during sleep. The glymphatic system, which is essentially your brain's cleaning crew, operates primarily during sleep to flush out waste products that accumulate during waking hours. All of that depends on the quality of your sleep. And the quality of your sleep depends enormously on whether your body is trying to digest a full meal at the same time, or whether it finished that work hours ago and is free to focus entirely on restoring you. Move your dinner earlier, and you give your brain back its full cleaning and restoration window every single night. Do that consistently, and you will feel the difference in your thinking within a few weeks. I did. It was not subtle. The fourth thing that changed was my weight. I want to address this carefully because I was not trying to lose weight when I made this change, and I did not make it for that reason. But I will tell you that over the following 6 months, without changing what I ate or how much I ate or adding any particular exercise, I lost 11 pounds. 11 pounds that had been sitting on me stubbornly for years, despite various attempts to address them. What I understand now is that late eating disrupts the hormones that regulate hunger and fat storage in ways that work against you, regardless of how carefully you eat during the day. Insulin sensitivity is higher earlier in the day and lower at night, which means the same food eaten at 6 o'clock is processed differently by your body than the same food eaten at 9 o'clock. Your body at 9 o'clock at night is not optimized for using that energy. It is optimized for winding down. So it stores more of it, not because you ate too much, because you ate at the wrong time. 60 years. I spent 60 years eating at the wrong time and managing the consequences and calling the consequences aging. Now I want to talk about the practical reality because I know that is where people get stuck. I know the schedule argument. I lived the schedule argument for decades. Here is what I want to offer you, not as rules, but as the things that actually worked for me and for the women I have shared this with since. Eat your largest meal of the day at lunch, when your digestion is strongest and your body is designed to handle it. Let dinner be lighter, simpler, easier for your body to process quickly. If your schedule absolutely cannot accommodate 6 o'clock, try for 7. Try for 7:30. Any movement earlier from where you are right now is going to give you something back. You do not have to be perfect. You have to be better than you were. If you find yourself genuinely hungry later in the evening because dinner was early, have something small and simple, a piece of fruit, a small handful of something light, not a meal, not anything that demands significant digestion. And regardless of when you eat, try to give yourself at least 3 hours between your last bite and lying down. 3 hours is not a luxury. 3 hours is the minimum your body needs to do the first round of digestive work before you remove gravity and ask it to continue. The other thing I want to say is this. I understand that for many of you, dinner is not just fuel. Dinner is the ritual. Dinner is the time the family comes together. Dinner is the conversation and the connection, and the 1 hour of the day when everyone is in the same room, not looking at a screen. I understand that deeply because dinner was that for me for most of my life, and I would not trade those years of late family meals for anything. So I am not telling you to abandon the ritual. I am telling you to move the ritual. 7 o'clock instead of 9, 6:30 instead of 8. The conversation does not change. The connection does not change. The food does not change. Only the clock changes. And that clock change will give you years, not metaphorically, actually. Years of better sleep and clearer mornings and a body that feels like it is working with you instead of perpetually catching up. I think about Vera often. She passed away 3 years ago at 89. She was coherent and present and herself right up to very near the end. She walked her neighborhood 3 mornings a week until she was 87. She had opinions about everything and energy to express them. At her small memorial, her daughter stood up and said, "My mother took better care of herself in her 60s than most people do in their 30s, and the benefits compounded every single year after that." I sat in the 3rd row and thought about a driveway conversation and a bag of groceries and 3 words: stop eating late. Something so simple that I almost walked away from it. Here is the truth I want to leave you with. The habits that are costing you the most are almost always the ones you notice the least. Not the dramatic ones, the invisible ones, the ones so woven into the fabric of your daily life that you stopped seeing them as choices years ago and started seeing them as just how things are. Eating late is one of those habits. It does not feel dangerous. It does not feel like anything at all most of the time. It just feels like dinner. But underneath that ordinary feeling, something is happening every night that is stealing from your sleep and your digestion and your mind and your weight and your energy, and handing you back symptoms you are spending money and effort and worry trying to treat, when the thing causing them goes completely unaddressed because it is not dramatic enough to seem like a cause. It is the cause. For many of you, it is a significant cause of things you have been trying to fix in every direction except this one. I am 79 years old. My doctor told me at my last visit that my blood pressure is better than it was at 65. My inflammation markers are those of a woman significantly younger than my age. I sleep deeply and wake up ready. My mind is clear in the mornings in a way I had genuinely stopped believing was still possible for me. I am not on any new medications. I did not join a program or hire a coach or overhaul my entire life. I moved my dinner to 6 o'clock, and I stayed consistent about it, and my body did the rest. Because that is what a body does when you stop working against it. It works for you. Vera was right. I laughed at her in the driveway, and she was completely right. Try it for 30 days. You do not have to commit to forever. You do not have to announce it or explain it to anyone. Just move dinner earlier for 30 days and pay attention to what your sleep does, what your mornings feel like, what your stomach does, what your energy does. Pay honest attention, because your body will tell you everything you need to know. It has been trying to tell you for years. I am going to finish my tea now. It is 5:45, and I have a dinner to start.